We've all seen the video. We all know what happened on August 30th, 2022. It was obvious. It has taken a very long time to get here, unreasonably long time to get here. It never should have taken this long to indict a police officer for recklessly shooting an unarmed young man in his bed.
Was just a short time ago, former Columbus police officer Ricky Anderson turned himself into jail after a grand jury indicted him for the shooting death of 20-year-old Donovan Lewis. He's charged with murder and reckless homicide. Now, NBC4 was the first station to alert you to this indictment. Last August, then Columbus police officer Anderson shot and killed an unarmed Lewis while serving a search warrant in the Hilltop. The charges come 8 months after special prosecutors announced it would go to a grand jury. As a result of the shooting, Anderson was placed on leave and eventually retired in bad standing. NBC4's Anna Hoffman just stepped away from that news conference. She joins us now live. Anna, the family says this day is just a step toward justice.
That's exactly right, Jennifer. They say there is still a lot more fighting to do. And I asked Donovan's mother, Rebecca Duran, what was her immediate reaction when she woke up this morning to hear this news. She tells me it's overall a good day, but it's still a sad day because it does not take away from the fact that her son is no longer with us. Again, Ricky Anderson was charged with reckless homicide and murder for the August 2022 death of Donovan Lewis. Elliott says that they are now looking for more change to come from the city. They are still fighting, and having this indictment today does not take away from the fact that it's taken almost a year to the date to have this indictment filed against former officer Ricky Anderson. They say they're going to be reaching out to city leaders to still continue to fight for change within the Columbus Division of Police. Since then, they did make changes to how they do proceed with overnight warrants, and they said they're going to be reaching out with them today. Again, he is charged with reckless homicide and murder, and this is only the first step.
You know, the reality is that there is a different justice system for citizens, and there's a different justice system for police officers. This never should have taken this long. Unfortunately, the length of time that it has taken to indict a police officer here, it causes us all to distrust the process.
Donovan's mother also said they didn't just take away Donovan from her, but they also hurt the community, as you just heard them talking about the distrust that this has created within the community here in Columbus and the Columbus Division of Police. We'll have more from this coming up today at midday. Local for you in Columbus, I'm Anna Hoffman, NBC4.
Anna, thank you. We also just received a statement from the attorneys representing Anderson. It reads in part, quote, "This case is not about if Ricky Anderson made the decision to use deadly force, but why he made the decision to use deadly force. As we progress through litigation, the evidence will show that it was because he was justified in doing so," end quote. It's been 339 days since Officer Anderson shot and killed Lewis. The Ohio BCI gave the case to the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office in December of last year, which is also when the office announced 2 special prosecutors. NBC4 anchor Carrie Charles walks us through the details of that case.
I just thought maybe it was just a simple arrest. I never dreamed my baby would be dead.
We first met Rebecca Duran September 15th, 2022, 16 days after a team of Columbus police officers went to her son, Donovan Lewis's Hilltop apartment, to serve an arrest warrant in the middle of the night.
Show me your hands, hands up, face away from me.
They first removed 2 men from the unit.
Who else is in here? How many people?
You want to come up here? You sleep in this room.
Once inside,
Hands!
1 second after an officer opened the door to the 20-year-old's bedroom, Officer Ricky Anderson shot him. Later that day, Mayor Andrew Ginther.
When our officers have done the right thing, then we're going to stand with them. And when they do the wrong thing, we're going to hold them accountable.
And Police Chief Elaine Bryant spoke with reporters. Chief Bryant said Lewis was unarmed. Investigators only found a vape pen in his bed.
What I would say to the community is trust the process. allow the investigation to take place, and know that you have a leadership team that is going to make sure that we are transparent and that we're going to do the right things.
Anderson's attorney released a statement saying the investigation must look at the totality of the circumstances and that, unlike all of us, officers are not afforded the luxury of armchair reflection when they are faced with rapidly evolving, volatile encounters and dangerous situations.
From being sad to angry to fear, like the fear that it can happen to you as well, like it's not okay.
Thursday, September 8th, Lewis's family and their attorneys gathered for a news conference.
This could have been prevented if Columbus Police Department just reviews their policies, their procedures, make some changes culturally. We can prevent this from happening. They can prevent this from happening.
During the address, they referred to the charges against Lewis, a misdemeanor for domestic violence and a felony warrant for alleged improper handling of a firearm. The shooting took place around 2:30 in the morning.
We need to get rid of middle-of-the-night arrest warrants unless there's a dangerous exigent circumstance. We need to have police officers that are trained to come into these communities, that understand these communities.
Hours after the news conference, the Columbus Division of Police announced a policy change, stopping the execution of pre-planned misdemeanor warrants, including domestic violence or non-violent felony warrants, from 11 at night until 6 in the morning without the prior approval of a lieutenant or above. That night, I spoke with one of the family's attorneys.
I think it's a step in the right direction, definitely. You know, it's very unfortunate that Donovan had to lose his life for the city to take this step, for the department to take this step, and because this shouldn't have been the case to begin with. I mean, this policy was not smart. This policy was dangerous.
What's next? What's the next ask?
Well, the next ask is, you know, termination of the officer, prosecution of the officer, in addition to go back and reform these policies that don't include de-escalation.
October 25th, NBC4 reported the findings of the Franklin County Coroner's autopsy report. Cause of death, gunshot wound of the abdomen. Manner of death, homicide. The toxicology screening came back positive for nicotine and THC, but that does not necessarily mean the 20-year-old was under the influence of substances when he was shot. Rebecca Duran called the wait for the case to be presented to a grand jury trying.
My patience are running thin. Like I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of waiting for their, due process, because the ultimate answer is he didn't get his.
And in March of this year, Anderson, a 30-year veteran of the force who had been on paid administrative leave since the shooting, again retired in bad standing. The division says that meant he could not keep his badge or gun, but would receive his pension. Now, this is a developing story with many moving parts. So for the very latest, scan the QR code that you see on your screen. That will allow you to download our free NBC4 News app. There you will find our story on Ricky Anderson's indictment, along with links to past stories on this investigation.